Without a doubt, he's one of the most talented songwriters and certainly one of the most soulful voices on the planet. Let's just remind ourselves very quickly of what this man does and what he sounds like.
Let's not waste time playing any games.
That's a track from his current album, Then and Now. Please welcome MARC STAGGERS to MORPHER Radio. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Dave?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Great to have you here, and thanks for joining us. Firstly, congratulations. What an album. I've certainly been enjoying this very, very much, and you must be thrilled with the way the album's turned out. How long did the album take from start to finish, the whole project?
It took us about 6 months to put together. My brother, Reginald, who actually did all the music and I did all the lyrics, we collaborated on this and put it together, and it came together quite nicely, and we're very pleased by the reaction that we've gotten from across the globe. So thank you very much for the support, and thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, and your brother Reggie, I mean, he was heavily involved with the album. He's an amazing, very, very talented man by the sounds of things.
Yeah, he's been at it a while. This is our first R&B jazz project, as we call it, and we wanted to kind of just do some music that kind of made people reminisce about days of old, and so that was kind of the thing we were going after, and I think we kind of captured some of it, and very pleased about the reaction that it's got.
Well, I think you did. You've achieved something very, very brilliant there. I've got to say, it's a real pleasure to hear something new again, which kind of lends itself to what I would call the old school R&B and jazz flavour.
Thank you.
How many sleepless or broken nights did you have when your head hit the pillow and all you could hear was the music going round in your head?
Almost every night for 6 months. When because we were just so focused on this, you're constantly thinking about it. Every waking moment, you're kind of going over the songs, and you just want everything to kind of come together nicely. So, it became an obsession for 6 months, but it was well worth the effort.
It does. It gets in your head. I know I did a small project, well, say a small project with a friend of mine, a disc jockey. DJs are, for want of a better phrase, frustrated musicians. We all kind of think that we can do something that's pretty talented. And we took an old Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes track called Wake Up Everybody, and we spent probably about as much time on that track as you did completing your whole album of 6 months. And we were in the studio just, mucking about, I suppose, but my head hit the pillow and all I could hear was this track going round in my head, and I'd wake up in the morning feeling like a complete nightmare, to be quite honest with you. Now,
that's great.
Yeah. Now, he's been such an inspiration for musicians and artists over the years, and I know that you admire his work. He's the very brilliant Luther Vandross, and you've heard this before, I know, and you sound so much like him. You pretty much grew up and fell in love with his music, didn't you?
Absolutely. I think I have every one of his songs. And, he was the first person that came along that could take a song that somebody else did and make it his own. And that's a gift in and of itself. That, when you hear him sing a song that somebody else has done previously, and you're like, wow, it's a totally different song, totally different feel, he made it his own. And I'd always admired that about him and his vocal talent and his ability to when Luther sang, and I had the opportunity to go see him one time live, and, he could just absorb you. Just with his voice and his talent, and what a gift, and well missed, but just glad I had an opportunity to experience it.
Yeah, just an amazing man. He's sadly missed, I know. As a singer and considering your days in the church choir as a gospel singer and doing background vocals and singing with the Winans and the late Clifton Dyson and Stu Gardner, how long do you think it took you before you actually thought you were good enough to think, yeah, this is working now. I'm hitting the ranges, holding the keys, and this is all coming together. I'm really happy with how I'm sounding.
Probably about 5 years ago. I think I really started to feel like, I was starting to come into my own. because I did not grow up singing. You know, I didn't start singing until later on in life, and my first attempts at singing, you know, basically everybody used to put their fingers in their ears and tell me to be quiet. So you know, it took a while to kind of build up that confidence, and but I feel like, you know, finally I've kind of found my little space in life. So
yeah.
Very pleasing.
Well, you're sounding amazing, I got to say. I mean, it's very difficult, I think, when you kind of liken to a particular artist, it's very difficult to kind of get off their stage, if you understand what I mean. You've got to find your own style and your own unique way of actually performing, haven't you?
Absolutely, because, you know, I've even had people say, you sound too much like him, and it's not intentional. You know, the thing about it is that, you know, I know that I've listened to him for so many years, and I'm sure I've absorbed a lot of the kind of things that he does vocally. But at the same time, you know, I'm comfortable enough to believe that, you know, I've kind of created my own sound, and you know, over time, I'm sure people will begin to recognize that. But I'm pleased with where things are going. I'm sure that even if Luther was here today, he'd tell you that he used to listen to certain people and how they influenced him. And over time, you just kind of then find your own space, and you begin to develop your own niche, if you will. So it's like anything else; it's a growth process. But at the end of the day, you know, I think anyone who sings understands it's kind of a process.
I was watching a video of you on YouTube live at the Sip Lounge, was it? And you had your whole family there. They sound like a right lively bunch. Sound like about 100 of them in your family.
Yeah, great. It's a great bunch up in New York, and you know, wherever I go, I just enjoy having a good time, Dave.
That's great.
What life is about. You know, and music is supposed to be fun, and that's what I try and keep it in perspective. You know, we're not doing brain surgery. We're not fighting a war. This is music, and music is to be enjoyed and appreciated, and so that's how I try and keep everything in perspective, my friend.
Yeah, and the music comes from the soul as well. I think the music comes from what you actually feel and what you experience. I was going to go back to your family and say they must be so proud of what you've actually achieved. How much support have they actually given you along the way?
Oh, my family's been very supportive, always encouraging. You know, even at times when I thought, okay, I don't even want to sing anymore. I'm done with this. You know, it's not going the way I want it to go. You know, just continuing just to encourage me. So, you know, I owe them quite a bit.
So you have pretty much the same ups and downs as everybody else has in life, really, then?
Absolutely. You know, yeah. I'm sure even as you've experienced in life, you know, there's times when you kind of hit a brick wall and you're like, okay, this isn't fun anymore, and I'm tired of hitting my head on the wall, so I think I better go do something else. And something keeps pulling at you, and you just kind of find your way back into that area, and then it just kind of all comes together for you. So.
You do. And I think that anybody who has a professional career, be it acting or singing or, you know, in the media or whatever it might be, even presenters and DJs, I think that if you don't feel enthusiastic about what you're doing, that is the day that you've actually got to give it up. What do you think?
I agree with you. And that's one of the reasons why, coming back to the project, I was so eager to do this project, because I think I had lost my love for music. In my own way, and I was just tired and frustrated because you know, like I know, this business can drain you. You know, when you run into people who may not have your best interest at heart and that kind of thing. But when my brother and I sat down to really talk about this project, we just kind of locked in, and for the first time, you know, it just kind of seemed like the stars had aligned and everything just kind of came together. So I feel great about it. Feels good to finally do something that I feel like, okay, you know, I can kind of put my thumb on it and say that, you know, wow, you know, we came together, we worked together, and we were able to put out something that people enjoy.
Yeah, you've achieved something pretty spectacular, let me tell you that, Mark. Let's play a track from the album, Then and Now. But what I want you to do, I want you to imagine it's Sunday morning. It's sunny outside, the temperature's hovering around 75, and what track would you choose to listen from your album Then and Now?
I'll probably listen to When I Think About Your Love.